One of the greatest things about this project has been the working with people on the ground, as it were, in schools. And the test of any project, there's an English expression, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. It's the people in the schools that determine whether the project works. So what we have done is we've assembled some great project leaders, and those project leaders are going to explain something about how they have found the implementation of Transcendental Meditation and quiet time in schools. I'd like to first of all introduce myself. My name's Derek Cassells. I was principal head teacher of the Maharshi School in Lancashire, England for 29 years. And the Maharshi School used Transcendental Meditation as a means for developing the full inner potential of the students. And by the students, we mean all students, irrespective of ability, irrespective of background or social standing. Every student would benefit from this program. And so what I would like to do is to have our implementation experts, I'll invite them to introduce themselves and then to say something about the project that they have been involved in. So we'll start from the sunny south of Europe. We will start with Portugal, and then we'll head to the bit of Europe that I know most about, Northern Europe, where a little bit of cold in Brussels is just refreshing for us. So, from the sunny south, Teresa, would you like to start?
Okay, I'm Teresa Paula. I'm teacher of science in Alberto Urias School. I teach children at 11 to 15 years old, okay? So in my activity as a teacher, I have noticed that through the learning and daily practice of the Transcendental Meditation technique, this is systemic vision of the function of the earth and these living systems, including our physiology, our being, get upgrade. I felt that if we connect ourselves with Him, the understanding of that is around us become easier and better. And with enthusiasm, we motivate the students for the learning process. The students feel and captive and our balance of energy and get involved by the function in what they feel. Like that, they understand the message if they match it with their daily experience. It's very important when we teach, make the process of learning in the contact of their quotidian. The feeling is something very important in my relationships with the others. Thanks to the Europe project, implementing in our school, teachers, students could learn, apply, and feel the benefits of this simple and great technique, TM, in the context of the quiet time. The latter was approved to be applied as intercurricular action by the Pedagogic Council of our school for all the classes which are enabled to do the daily practice on the first and the last times of their schedule with the supervision of a teacher who has been trained for that task. It is an inclusive project where all the class participate. It is a moment of break in our school. For those who learn TM, they do the technique. For those who don't have learned, simply stay in silence. In this year, we have a welcome new. We have a publication in the 6th of July, 55. The 55 law decree of the government that assumes has fulcral priority and education policy to make real the guarantee of access of public school for everyone, promoting the additional success and the equality of opportunities, has autonomy and curricular flexibilization. In this sense, it takes on account the importance of developing skills in the students that allow them to question established learnings and integrate emergent knowledge to communicate more effectively and create problem solving. In this way, the school has the chance to identify effective curricular options, having in consideration its context, mirror in the educational project, and having in the mind the curricular base and essential learnings. On behalf of the, we call Lei da Autonomia e Flexibilização Curricular, it's the name in Portuguese, it's give the opportunity for the schools to have flexibilization in the curriculum. So we feel that it will be a possibility to carry along with the innovation project able to ensure the existence of an inclusive school, promotion equality of opportunities, non-discriminative by excellence, which flexibility, innovation, and personalization gives an answer to the heterogeneity of the student. So now in Portugal, we will have a nice moment. So let's see what's happened. Okay, thanks.
Good morning. It is a great pleasure to be here. My name is Paulo Corterreal and I'm an art teacher from Albertiria School. I'm a colleague of Teresa. It has been a great honor to be part of the best European work team that I have ever met. As a teacher of Dr. Albertiria School, to get the opportunity under the Euro project to coordinate this extraordinary program, the Quiet Time program based on Transcendental Meditation, it is already the highest point of my career. I'm a school teacher since 24 years ago. Among all these years, I never had known other educational approach so simple and so effective as Quiet Time Transcendental Meditation program. A major part of our students are children with social disadvantage status. The pertinence of this project found its more precious contribution in changing the lives of our students. They are more happy with themselves and the school and present highest moral patterns. The school atmosphere has been changed. Of course, nothing of these great achievements were possible without the precious support of Ministry of Education of Portugal, DGA, from the first moment. And I want to thank you, Dr. Yvette Azevedo, that is present on behalf of the Ministry of Education. Thank you, Yvette. I also wish to express my appreciation to inestimable support and collaboration of the teacher training centers on the training of the teachers. Centro de Formação Ria Formosa, in Faro, is near of our city. Centro de Formação Calvete Magalhães, in Lisbon. Centro de Formação de Associação de Escolas dos Concelhos de Aveiro e de Albergaria, is in the city of Aveiro. And the Centro de Formação do Litoral à Serra, in the city of Lolé. And also manifest my thanks to the support of our principal teacher, Erlinda Figueira, and vice principal teacher, Fernando Rafael, in all this process. Also, it was crucial as dissemination of the project, the participation in meetings and conference in education. To finish, I want to say, yes, it is possible a better education. Thank you.
Just to mention, we will see a couple of short videos done by the president of the Parent Association of the school, Alberto Iria, and by Joao Marcelino, which is partner of the project in the organization Association of Parents, which APEIA. So we will see these two videos, and then we will go to Lena for Sweden. Thank you, Lena.
Hi, my name is Carla, and I'm the mother of 2 students from Alberto Iria School. I am grateful to participate as a parent in the Europe project and advise without hesitation the entire school community to experience the positive effects of the Quiet Time Project program based on Transcendental Meditation, since in addition to not requiring any type of control or effort, effects are immediate. In just 20 minutes, twice per day, we can get the mind into a state of well-being and stillness. It looks like magic, however, the effects linger over the hours and days. Today, I feel like a different person, less stressed, more energetic and more creative. And this is reflected in my relationships with others and especially with my family. For me, it's a powerful coping tool that used in school and family contexts can positively transform our society. Children become calmer, more focused, and more available for learning and peer relationships. As the president of Parents Association, I support this project and believe that this is the right way to help our children grow and learn in a healthier and more balanced way.
Hello, good morning. My name is Joao Marcelino. Where are we? Aveiro, as you can see, is in the middle of Portugal. This beautiful city, you are welcome. Our school, Escola João Afonso de Aveiro, a photo of the entrance of the school. We contacted the teachers training center of Aveiro and try and define a proposal to achieve funds in order to support the TM teacher training. And Aveiro teachers training receive that funds, and now we have this TM teachers training offer in its official catalog. So it's important because every school and teacher can ask and have this training for free. Okay, we have here one testimonial. What was amazing was to read the testimonials and to realize the importance of this project. As you can see here, I will read this testimonial from Paula Nogueira. My participation in this course was really important for me. After 3 days of practicing, I feel more calm, I sleep well, and I feel more happy. I hope that I can keep practicing and that the Transcendental Meditation can be implemented in more schools to help teachers and students. All of the testimonials were more or less like this. And after that, I realized the importance of this project. Now we have a great problem because a lot of schools are contacting, I think in a weekly basis, asking patients to implement these projects in their school. So we have a lot of events in December in another school where they intend to implement this project. So thank you all for being part of this project. I would like to say something at the end. This was, Europe was the most important project I've been involved. I realized a lot of things that only people that are involved can realize the problems we have in schools, and how easy with this project we can solve them. And people are asking for help, and this project can help them. Thank you very much. That's all.
My name is Lena Karlsson, and I'm a principal from Sweden, a town called Borlänge. And my first teacher, my right hand, is also here with me today. Lorette, she's sitting over there. She's actually the one who introduced me to TM and make me as a principal interested in this way of working with students. The town of Borlänge is a very small town. There's about, in the middle of Sweden, somewhere here, 200 kilometers from Stockholm. Sweden has around 10 million pupils and Borlänge 60,000, so it's a really small town. But the latest year there has come a lot of new arrivals to Sweden, and many of them has arrived in our town. Since 2015, about 800 to 1,000 students has arrived. As you see, that's one or two new schools, and we haven't built any new schools. We just pressed them in the old schools. So the schools are very full. So in 2016, my boss said to me, we need to build a new school. We need to build a school for the newly arrivals, and we would like you to take care of it. Build a school, give them education, make it work. So we started to work with this. So we started this welcome center. And a welcome center, we say, welcome to our town. We will help you to build a future in our town, in our country. So we take care of the small children from age 1 to 5. And we have a startup school for students 6 years old up to 16. And then we have this extra regular school for students who are 16 to 18. And that is our biggest job right now. Last year we had 80 students in that school, and this year we have 60 students. And almost all of these 80 students continue to the next level of education, and I would say mostly because of TM. Because when they arrived in our school, many of them were stressed, they came without their parents, they didn't know what to do, they were agitated, stressed, and feeling sorry about coming to Sweden without the parents. And there was a lot of violence and discussion and difficult to work sometimes. But when we started with TM, the students became calmer and the whole school environment became much, much calmer, and even the teachers became calmer. Our school is very special. It's really new, and we work with multilingual practices, and that means that when I looked for people to work in my school, I looked for people talking Arabic, Somalic, Tigrinya, but with academic education. They are not teachers, all of them, but they have a lot of knowledge in math or physics or other areas. But since they are not teachers, they haven't got the tools to work with students with behavior problems. They don't know how to handle them, so they also get stressed. But after them, we have introducing TM, they all became much calmer, and the students were more able to concentrate and work with the subjects and get the grades. It's difficult to work with this kind of students because they have all different kind of language, different kind of religion. Some of them have never been to school. Some of them have been in school for many, many years, but in another country. Some of them have high goals. They want to be principals, doctors, lawyers. And some of them has no goal at all. Some of them come with parents, and some of them come without parents. Some of them know that they will stay in Sweden, and some of them they don't know. We can send them back to the home countries. So they are really worried about the future. When we work in this kind of group, there is a lot of problems, but there is also a lot of possibilities, because when you're creating something new, a new school, we can add things that we believe in, and that's what we do with TM. We work with the knowledge, but we need to work with the human. We need to develop their heart, their feelings, their emotions. So when TM introduced it to our school, it became a big change in how we work with the students. This summarizes the experience from Borlänge, Sweden. Thank you.
I just want to say there are many, many lost without goals, knowing nothing how they should do. And as Lena said, that there are students who come alone without parents. They wait till migration office decide they could send them back. So our students, many of them are highly, highly stressed. Imagine if you are in a country, they come illegal, they suffer, it can be 3, 4, 5, 6 months in the way to come to Sweden, and then they wait until migration office decide if they are allowed to stay or send them back. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lena and Lorette. So we will have another short video from another principal and vice principal from 2 schools in Sweden.
I just want to say that the first principal is from the Montessori school we were speaking before, and the vice principal from the school that we said was extremely difficult in Sweden, in Malmö.
Det krävs mycket av våra barn och ungdomar idag på ett annat sätt än förr i tiden. Det kräver mycket eget ansvar, eget driv. Hela samhället har en annan hastighet, ett annat flöde.
Det sprider sig överhuvudtaget i skolvärlden idag att man får fler och fler hemmasittare. Och sen har vi många barn med prestationsångest. Och att kunna hjälpa barnen att hantera det tycker jag är jätteviktigt.
Det är lite så här kaos ibland i klassen. Men efter meditationen känns det som att alla lugnar ner sig. Liksom. Det är nice, det är skönt.
man går ner i en sån stillhet att det kändes nästan som att man lämnade sig själv. Och det hände ganska tidigt. Men då fick vi ju veta det att det var ju så det skulle vara. Så det är lite häftigt att man med ganska enkla medel kan komma dit hen. För då förstår man ju också att det är total vila.
Jag hade en lärare som kom till mig och berättade om det här TM och att han hade jobbat med det på tidigare skolor med gott resultat. Jag kände redan efter ett par, 3 gånger effekt att jag kunde fokusera på ett annat sätt och att det gav mig energi.
Jag tyckte det var väldigt spännande, framförallt då när man fick mycket forskning. Den forskning som var kopplad till barn med neuropsykiatriska handikapp och barn överhuvudtaget som var lite i gråzonerna. Men det fanns ju även forskning på vilket barn som helst att det faktiskt stärker din kognitiva förmåga. Barnen var med på noterna direkt och sen mejlade vi ut till föräldrarna och det blev jättebra respons. Det var 100% som blev intresserade.
Min förhoppning är att våra elever kan fokusera på sina studier så att de får sina resultat och att de får en framtid, de får ett jobb. Och som bieffekter att de får ett bra liv. Vi lär dem detta tidigt i livet, att kunna den här djupa avslappningen, kunna fokusera.
Bara det här att gå in i en högstadiegrupp där det är stimmigt och hormonstint och det här är lite strypkoppel på dem. Att gå in dit och säga nu sluter vi ögonen och så är det bara tyst. Det är ju något som är en upplevelse utan dess like. Så att ger man det här ett halvår till tror jag man kommer att se ändå större förändring.
So, Connie Postel, experienced educator working in the Netherlands.
Yes. Hello. Is the sound as good or is it too loud? It's good? Okay. So my name is Connie Postel. I've been working on a project in the Netherlands, looking for schools, implementing. And I have got a few quotes from Holland, from the teachers and from the students. And in Holland, we started with a school of dropouts, which was, for me, was symbolic. These children, talking about social inclusion, these children feel excluded and have fears and anxiety. So it was great that they were the ones who were able to learn this most effective tool and get function from the silence within themselves. So experiences from the Netherlands. I'm going to read to you parts of an email from one of the principals from a school in Utrecht where we started. And he was, in the beginning, very skeptic and very reluctant. And then once he started, he was so enthusiastic. He sent this email out to all his teachers. And he said, I just started TM, and now I have meditated for 4 consecutive afternoons. I started with skepticism, and I had no affinity with it. But after all, I did not do this for myself, but to investigate whether we can use this method for the students we teach at school, and they are usually from troubled situations. I have practiced now for 4 days, 9 meditations, 1 in the group at the end of the school day and 1 in the morning before the day starts. I notice during the rest of the day that I feel so much better. I'm much better able to concentrate. I can give much more attention to people. I have more energy. I can cope better. The main effect is that I have the feeling that my thinking is clearer, which makes me feel more rested and peaceful. I would like to have others experience this, especially our students and the teachers. And then Louis Ubbels. So, these are some quotes from the students at the Trappenberg in Huizen, which is the School of Dropouts. I can organize my thoughts much better after meditating. I have more energy, concentration has improved. I feel less chaos in my head. Even with occasional meditation, I feel the effects. I have more interest in school now. Well, all of them were dropouts, so I sleep better. Actually, that's what all the students said within 1 week, because they all have problems, difficult sleeping. I will still be meditating after 20 years. I'm sure about that, one of the students said. So here the teacher's talking about the program. I see the positive changes from the inside, especially emotions of students, e.g. less discussion, more cooperative behavior. The learning environment is more quiet. Students feel more cohesion in the group. This has a positive effect on the school atmosphere. Some students are more focused and some of the students experience more openness. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Connie. Thank you very much. I know that we have deliberately cut this part short. If any of colleagues attending feel that they wish to talk to further our school experts, I'm sure they would be more than happy to make themselves available for a chat. Thank you very much. Your presentations were greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing these experiences. This project also foresaw a very deep monitoring and evaluation of the results. And since the very beginning, a monitoring process, a robust monitoring process was set up, put in place. And also because we are speaking about very huge things, more concentration, more energy, more cohesion, capacity to cope. And what we did is to, let's say, monitor, measure. So it was an evaluation that went below the mere satisfaction. You can see in these presentations the impact that this process had in the students and teachers' lives. And this, but other than this, we try to have an updating of the process, also measuring the real impact on the target groups that we focused more. And 2 universities actually were involved in the evaluation. And now I have with me Professor Raymond Slot from the Utrecht University, one of the 2 universities involved in the monitoring and in the evaluation of the program, and Sergio Vieira and Joana Vieira dos Santos from Algarve University, Faculty of Psychology. I would like to give them the floor, and after this part of the conference, I just would like to ask if there are questions from your side before going almost to the end of the conference after the policy recommendation that we would like to show after this presentation. Please, Raymond.
Marianita, thank you very much. We have heard very amazing testimonies of the different schools. And from the scientific part, we had the job to also look at, can we find scientific evidence for this? Can we find, based on standard psychological tests, etc., that there are really some effects going on? Well, actually, there are effects going on. I mean, all those amazing testimonies are very special. But what we did was giving it some extra push with the scientific research that we did. And we had a very fantastic group of people who worked together, had to look at the scientific results, had the people from Portugal, and also in the Netherlands we had a very supporting group of people working on the research, and Annette Lindert is also here in the group. Thank you very much, Annette. So what did we do? We have an international project with schools in 3 countries with very different languages, very different cultures, and 2 universities working together had to reach for the results, research results. So we had specific attention, and this was one of the first cross-country researches on transcendental meditation in a very, very long time. So let's have a look at what we found. We started with the initial call. It's about social inclusion. And if we talk about social inclusion, then we talk about, well, 4 major objectives of social inclusion. And these 4 objectives of social inclusion are overcoming learning difficulties, overcoming cultural differences, overcoming negative psychological conditions, and overcoming social obstacles. And these are the 4 main goals of this program. And the tests that we did, psychological tests that we did, and the program, the research program that we laid out was aimed at, if we can see that the program, Quiet Time, Transcendental Meditation, really addresses those 4 issues. How did we do that? We were testing students, we also were testing teachers. We also found in the testimonials that surely teachers have a lot of benefit from this meditation technique. And we did qualitative research. Qualitative research means we did interviews with a lot of people and asked them what they found. But we also did quantitative research. Quantitative research based on psychological tests, standard psychological tests. And we did that in a situation that we tested the teachers and the students before they started transcendental meditation. So we asked them about their psychological situation. And after 3 months, 2-3 months, when they have been meditating for a number of months, we also did the same test again and compared the results, between the starting situation and the ending situation. And for the students, we also had what was called a control group. Dus we compared the results of the students who did transcendental meditation also with students who did not start with transcendental meditation, and see if there for the meditating students were differences, while for the non-meditating students there should be not that much difference. So this is a standard setup for research, and we had a very good results. I will show that in a few minutes together, and I would also like to thank the implementation partners for this, all the work that they did for the research. So let's have a look, and Johanna Vieira, can I invite you to show the results? Thank you very much.
Well, good morning to everyone. My name is Joana Vieira dos Santos. This is my colleague.
Sérgio Vieira.
We are from University of Algarve, and we work together with Raymond, who is the director from this part of evaluation team. And we tried to check what is the differences as Raymond first began. Well, we developed 2 kinds of studies, a qualitative one and a quantitative one. First of all, we'll speak about the qualitative study, who you just saw from the testimonials, some kind of sentences that we had. Well, how we developed this? We designed some kind of key testing dimensions for ask the people. Something like the received behaviors. We put it in here some kind of examples from questions that we asked. In your perception, do you feel any alteration since the TM was introduced? Environmental learning. In your belief, was there any alterations in the learning environment in the TM practicing classes? Regarding the school atmosphere, did you feel any modification in school's atmosphere or climate after introducing Transcendental Meditation? About the benefits, their perceptions about the benefits. How would you describe the impact of TM in your personal life? And the parent-child relationship, this is kind of dimension that is exclusive to the parents. How would you describe the relation with your child before and after Transcendental Meditation? Well, we designed what we call the semi-structured interviews. This is, we have that kind of principal domains, and we developed some kind of questions about that domains. But in order to go further to all of the people, we need to speak differently which one of them. That's why we developed just semi-structured, and then we defined the different kind of questions. We asked from these 4 domains, teachers and students, and 3 domains for the parents. Let's take a look for the results. The first domain is perceived behaviors, and we put in here examples of the answers that they gave to us, such as what we, after the answers, categorized in overall changes. So, for example, they were good already, but they got even better. This is an example of what a category that we designed overall change. I felt more calm, more relaxed. This is something like an example of what we in psychology call subjective well-being. Another psychological dimensions, we had answers, something like they, students, started to better understand the teacher, or I felt a change in my life perspective, okay? Personal resources, something like attention, concentration, emotional regulation, or self-control, we have answers like I was more focused in class. The second dimension was environmental learning. So, examples of the answers that students, teachers, and parents gave it to us was they were more receptive, they were more autonomous. For example, for the students, the grades improved even in the disciplines that I disliked studying. So, what we called was academic achievements. Personal resources, I started focusing in my study. I have to have a job in the future, so I realized that I have to study harder to achieve my goals. That's what we called personal resources. Sorry. The school atmosphere, the climate that they feel in the schools. Examples, I felt calmer. We codified this for an example of subjective well-being. And the group relations, they have answered, gave it answers to us, like initially there was some resistance about TM, but after then I learned how to cope with someone who was bad to me. So the acceptance was greater during the time, and they could improve the climate after some months. They could see the differences. More cohesion, more empathy, more improvement or improvements in the relations regarding professors and teachers and students. Sorry. The quiet time benefits. I feel inner peace. It's what we called, again, subjective well-being. Regarding personal resources, we located here kind of examples. It was good to me. I'm a stressed person. helps me to regulate my anxiety. I feel more joyful, more grateful. The gain is individual. People are more calm, more serene. Helps me studying better. I learn to be kind with others and with me. I'm more positive, more determined. So this is our main examples of results that we have in qualitative study. In the qualitative study, people could speak about their experiences. So we have in here a more deeper presentation about what they feel, what are their perceptions about it. And then we develop as well another kind of study. It was a quantitative one. The methodology Raymond already explained. It was developed in those 3 countries. We'll begin from the results with the teachers, okay? The overall sample was 155 teachers, but then we had to put them together. Well, the teachers who answered the questionnaires at the first time, and then we need to combine them after 3-month answers. So our final sample was 41 teachers. The mean age was 44 years old, and well, there are more teachers females than males, 3 females. About our instruments, as Raymond began to say, this is a quite huge job for us. It's because we need to have good measures and validated measures in all the 3 countries. So it was our first discussions. The dimensions and the questionnaires that we applied was in the 3 countries. They are validated. Let me just say it again. General job satisfaction, strength and state anxiety, the burnout Maslach inventory. It has 3 dimensions: emotional exhaustions, the personalization, and personal accomplishments. The positive and negative affective schedule. So, as the name says, it has a positive dimension and a negative dimension. The satisfaction with life scale. The life orientation test is about optimism. The perceived stress scale, it has only 1 dimension, stress as well. And then the psychological well-being, the self-acceptance, the personal growth, a purpose in life, the positive relationships, autonomy, and environmental mastery. Before present results, let us say it again that it was a huge effort, and it could be possible for us to have sample because of all the implementation teams. We are at university. But we only have data because of them. Well, results. Between T1 is when at the beginning point, and T2 is after 3 months. Well, what decreases? Stress. In here we have the psychological dimensions, very brief definition, and the statistical values. Okay, so the stress decreases in a significant way, such as anxiety in the both dimensions, which is very interesting for us. It is just the state anxiety, but as well the trait anxiety. Well, people feel more, less anxiety in a particular moment, as well as in the stable individual mood. Burnout in the dimension, emotional dimension, as well as in the personalization, and the negative effects decreases also. So now what increases in teachers? Well, optimism. We put in here an example of an item. I usually expect the best. Job satisfaction. The feelings that the people has that derives directly from their job, it increases as well, such as life satisfaction, the perceptions of being happy in their lives. The burnout, but in here, the positive dimension, the personal accomplishment. Well, employees, in this case teachers, feel much more effective in their job. And psychological well-being in the dimensions, purpose in life, the extent to which response they felt their lives had a meaning, a purpose, as well as autonomy, environmental masteries, and the positive effects. Yes, please. The T1 and T2? Oh, it is the... Well, the T1 and the T2 is between 3-month differences. And then the statistical one, what we are saying, the p-value is significant when they are less than 0.005. It is a statistical differences that we have. And then the t-value is the main force of that differences. Well, we have 2.3 point. It is a huge, a good result for us. Sorry, I didn't explain that part because it's more statistic. Well, about the students, it will be Sergio Wills.
In the students, you use a similar methodology, but with one different. Raymond said, in the student, you use a control group. You start with a sample with 469 students, and at the final, you use 176 students. In the experimental group, 120, and 56 in the control group. These groups are similar. When you start the medital transcendentation program, the groups are similar at different level. For example, age or difference between gender. The group, control group and experimental group, it's similar. It's very important, this aspect, because if you start with two groups with different conditions, it's you don't have security, feasibility to conclude that the difference after an exercise, technique or other thing, it's a result of this technique. So, in this situation, we have a similar group in these two samples, the similar in different characteristics. After the meditation, before you use in this situation the similar measures, but standard for the children or for the adolescent, anxiety, strengths and difficulty questionnaires, resilience, positive and negative effect, satisfaction with life, coping, inventory, satisfaction in school, and life orientation test. The results show the significant difference in 3 dimensions, decrease. For example, in the anxiety, in a specific 2 dimensions, in humiliation and anxiety coping. And we have another aspect in the difficulty as hyperactivity. It's not a significant, significant, but it is near the limit for a significant difference, 0.7. So it's an important aspect. And for the other, you increase 2 dimensions: cooperation skills and peers connection, 2 dimensions of the resilience.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Both in the qualitative study and in the quantitative study, we found some very clear results. And I think that's very important, because then we also can publish about it. We can give in the scientific community information about how the effects of transcendental meditation in schools. So let's go back to the key findings, and this is quite some kind of summary of the things that we found. There are 4 key findings that we found from this research. First of all, TM lowers stress levels for teachers and students, and this is actually what meditation does: lower the stress level of your nervous system. Your mind, your body will be functioning better, and this has a lot of consequences. So we take one key measure, lowering the stress level, and based on this key measure, you find that optimism and positive outlook on life improves. Persons become happier, just happy people. I mean, if you are really happy in yourself, why would you go to extremism of whatever kind of thing? I mean, we're changing the people from within instead of explaining to them that terrorism is not a good thing to do. I mean, people just choose spontaneously better and more constructive attitudes. Anxiety and fear decreases, which is also an effect from this. So if we compare these 4 main results with the key objectives of the call, key objectives of social inclusion, as I said, the 4 key objectives was overcoming learning difficulties, cultural differences, and social obstacles, and negative psychological conditions. And what you find is that actually we are addressing all of these in one stroke. In one approach, we address learning abilities. Transcendental meditation overcomes learning disabilities within schools. It helps children, it helps teachers to the learning process to improve it considerably. And you find here some statements from the research. My grades improved even in the disciplines that I dislike studying. Well, I mean, have you ever heard an adolescent saying something like this? I mean, I was more focused in class, and this is all based on this lower stress level. Students reach out more to others and have more resilience. So they are not isolated anymore, they are less isolated. I learned to be kind with others and with me. And so I really are able to relate better to others and understand others in a much better way. I learned how to cope with someone who was bad to me. That's also very, very important. I mean, we had earlier this morning discussions about bad experiences, pushing people in a certain direction. And what we find here is that you can push people, and people still may have negative experiences, but they don't start towards extremism. They just accept it and can cope with it. This is a very important result. And finally, teachers and students develop a more positive outlook on life. I mean, statements like, I feel inner peace. I never met any adolescent who is saying that without doing transcendental meditation. This is a very, very specific result. I felt change in my life perspective. Helps me to regulate my anxiety, and I feel more joyful, more grateful. So overcoming psychological conditions. So what we found here is that if you look at the 4 main key objectives of social inclusion, actually with one technique, with one simple approach, we address all those elements. And that's also very unique. If you look at other approaches, you find that they address this one or that one or that one. But what we do is more from inside out, addressing all these different key objectives of social inclusion. And we are very happy that if we have some research, that we also have some results to show. So thank you very much.
You had 154 teachers, of which you studied 41. What happened to the other ones? How was it a self-selection? How did that happen?
No.
And the same thing for the students. In other words, the ones that were left out, why?
Yeah, actually they are not left out. Actually,
that's my words.
Actually, we are still receiving a questionnaire. So we will have some other results. We will have some other results. We are still, the other ones are not left out, but we are still receiving questionnaires from schools, and people also need to take the time to fill in this questionnaire and push it back to us, etc., etc., etc. So I think in maybe in 1 month or 2 months we will even have other and more figures. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Now, as a consortium, we also gather some important lessons. We have learned some lessons, and we wanted also to write a sort of guidelines, which has also the aim to be a sort of policy recommendation. I have with me Professor Alberto Bramanti, economist of the University Bocconi in Milan, Italy, and also of University of Utrecht. And then Franz, who has already spoken this morning, will present you our guidelines in terms of policy recommendation gathered from the results of the Project Europe.
Thank you, Maria Rita. Thank you to all of you. So let me start immediately with a short overview of my presentation. I will touch 3 main points. We have an approach that works, and we have seen all the morning that performed quite well also in the pilot scheme we have developed in the European project. And it has been implemented in a cost-effective way, and I will come back in a moment to this point. And so at the end of the Euro project, we can extract some, from this good practice, some suggestions, some policy implications, some messages for the different stakeholders involved in education. This is precisely what I've called policy recommendation. And let me now come back on this point with a greater detail. And we have a project that works, and we have heard this morning from the enthusiastic witnesses from our colleagues, and we have all understood that students' well-being, without forget the teachers' one, is a major outcome of the project, and is a central precondition to prevent radicalization and violence within the school. Besides, we have a very valuable byproduct that is the improvement in performance in learning, so 2 birds with 1 stone. But let me spend a few words on the central concept of well-being. It is centrally quite loose and adaptable to many different interpretations. We use well-being as the realization on one's unique potential through physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual development about self, others, and the environment. Regarding to the cost effectiveness, we have to distinguish 2 different aspects, an absolute measure and a relative one. The first is related to the overall dimension of cost in implementing QTTM approach. It is not expensive. Up and running, it will cost the salary of the teacher dedicated to the program for some 100 students. However, the benefits will be centrally more important than the cost. As we have seen, the program significantly reduced stress, anxiety, hostility, and violence in both individual and the class, the whole school, and indirectly also the society. And furthermore, the program increased positive proactive outcomes such as tolerance, resilience, coping ability, and also increased scholastic performance. So the cost of doing nothing should be extremely high and risk to increase exponentially if the prevention of violent radicalization fails. And the second aspect related to cost effectiveness is linked to an horizontal comparison with other methodologies and programs. We lack, as a matter of fact, precise data on many other programs, but a lot of them require to be permanently reproduced to deliver their positive effect. So in policy terms, many times these other program looks like to switch on, switch off policies. When you stop to deliver, also the positive effect will stop. The impact of violence is pervasive and worrisome. Every day, millions of children throughout the world are subject to abuse, neglect, exploitation, and violence in their homes, schools, community, and at work. And this affects their physical and mental health, their education, and their overall quality of life. And these consequences are often intergenerational, with those who have faced violence as a child more likely to become violent adults. And violence should easily pave the way to radicalization, intolerance, racism, and marginalization. So the economic costs of violence are very high and can be broadly divided into two kinds, direct and indirect. And the direct costs of violence are related to three main measures: the healthcare system, the social welfare system, and the criminal justice system. All this is incurring cost to overcome the effect of violence. Equally important are the future indirect costs arising from the impact of violence, and the most significant one are productivity losses resulting from the way violence can impede child development, and a lower level of education. And all these are the cost of doing nothing. You have already seen this slide this morning, and from a policy point of view, I want to attract your attention on the fact that the first four different methods are to some extent the switch-on, switch-off policy I've referred before. And they have to do with some external causes, while only self-balancing method are devoted to internal aspects. And there are also further benefits of the QTTM method with respect to the other one that are reported in the blue box. So we can ask to ourselves if there is a rising need for improving well-being. Of course, is a rhetoric question for sure. And among the many different problems we see that the young internet generation is showing worrisome weaknesses, as the slide tells us, reporting some recent American results. So policy have therefore a fundamental role in addressing all the mentioned problems. And there is a wide toolbox of different practices, but the vast majority of them lack a general assessment of their effectiveness. Even from this point of view, QTTM shows a fundamental preacher's uniqueness That is, it relies on a multi-year strand of international research and overall scientific evaluation of its benefit. And on this basis, we are allowed to advance suggestion to a scaling up phase, to which I will dedicate the second part of my presentation. Dealing with policy making for scaling up, we have to treat 4 main points. The first is the objective to be reached, which should be implicit, but it's better to make them explicit. The different actors involved, and here we mean to take into account the multi-level governance approach to any policy of education, the timing of the implementation phase and the resource needed to carry it out, and the suggestion is to use all the available instruments already existing without waiting for general reform, which will never happen, and the things to be done, a straightforward bullet point list. I will concentrate on the first 3 and let the last one to Franz for some further remarks. So, looking to the goal to be reached, I'm suggesting the existence of a strong progression from the specific to the general, from the single student to the class, to the whole school, to the other school in the district, to the whole society. And let me stress that these objectives are not wishful thinking. They do not respond to a generic I would like approach. They are instead a reasonable outcomes of the implementation of a strict protocol. They are data-driven results. They are all measurable outcomes. We have numbers, statistics, evidence from a large number of schools at any latitude and very different contexts and showing the same things as our friends have already presented to us. This feature introduces us to the second point in which a scaling up process should focus, that is the role of the different actors, and remind us the multi-level governance puzzle we have to deal with whenever we address policy for education. We have the local level, the first step, and then the non-local level. When we look at the local level, following a bottom-up approach, we have to recognize the 3 main needs expressed from all the participating schools in the project, which is one of the lessons learned within the pilot project. They need to strengthen the stabilization of the project. They need a further diffusion within the school. They need to strengthen the role of the internal teacher. And in the point of strengthening the existing experience, we have a problem of flexibility. And in the training of teacher, we have the problem to organize the training. So we see that this is exactly one of the main points when we move up to the non-local actors and we look to the different tasks to be implemented. There are 2 main tasks. The first is a framing one, to set the rule. And the second one is a promotional one to some extent, that is to help diffusing and strengthening the process. What about setting the rule? We have 2 main points. The first is to be able to introduce the slot to practice meditation, reframing the school timetables. And the second is to allow teachers to attend the course or to become themselves teachers of Transcendental Meditation. And here we have to mention, to recall the Portuguese experience that have done a marvelous job on both of these points because they introduce flexibility into schools so to allow to have a curricular time for meditation. That is the most important result. and have also helped teach with their training center Via Formosa, that is the official body devoted to the training of the new entrant teacher, as well as the continuous professional development of all the other teachers. And TM has been introduced as a subject within the main course offered by the training center. And finally, we pass to the role of the European community, probably the most difficult and sensitive to be discussed, but on which the research team of the project feel confident enough to put on the table some policy recommendations. And we want specifically stress the fact that the goal to promote well-being for both students and teachers should become an express objective of European education policies. And the Commission would do a great job if stressing promoting more a cost-effective and self-balancing technique like QTM. In this second slide of recommendation, we recall 3 different levels: awareness and networking of well-being, building evidence, and introducing innovation. On the first one, an additional help should be to establish some aware criteria in the allocation of the existing funds for projects based on self-balancing techniques. On the second point, we are stressing a stronger coherence between the principle of evidence-based policy and the stronger scientific background of some project with respect to other, in large majority, which can rely only on anecdotal evidence and qualitative analysis. And on the third point, we try to foster, when we try to foster innovation in the social field, we need to use strong methodological approaches. One of the most relevant and sensitive points is related to the quality of the implementation phase. And European policies should adopt and reward projects and methodologies following a true qualitative implementation framework. And coming now to speaking to the timing of scaling up, we can roughly distinguish 3 steps: now, shortly, and in the near future. In the long run, we are all dead. Now it is possible to start quiet time TM experiences also outside any specific project, and Franz in a minute will show you how. But there is also another strong opportunity, another Commission-funded project, France, where one of the goals is to upscale, establish, and research good practice. And shortly, we can mobilize new actors and new resources to widen the already started project. And finally, in the near future, we can imagine a wider scaling up problem involving about 10 countries, some 20, 25 schools in each country, and no less than 100 students per school. And this means some 200, 250 schools throughout Europe with more than 2,000 students. These are small numbers which can trigger further positive effects. On the things to be done, I will pass the microphone to Franz, who will probably briefly illustrate some operative suggestions. Thank you to all of you.
So we would like to finish this session with what to do practically if you want to start now, because the future starts now. So what does it mean if you want to join these efforts? As Alberto was saying, We do have also a continuation, a scaling up project, Friends, where people can contribute. So step one is simply get in touch with us. It's and here are, let's say, the contacts. We have seen Paolo, Connie. In Belgium, it's Claudio. In Sweden, Thomas. Or you can talk to anyone of the project, and we will get in touch then further with the right persons. The second step is then very simple. We give an introductory lecture for teachers, for parents, and before that, of course, we have talked to the principal and explained things to him, also explained how it works. Typically, the principal would start with a technique. The next step is that there then is simply an introductory lecture for the students. And so there they get all kind of explanations, their questions are answered. And then there is a personal instruction of students. It's the same for, of course, for teachers. There is always a personal instruction. And then they simply do quiet time twice a day. And what it means is, you see there in the back someone with the head on the table. It means actually that in the quiet time program, applying the technique is voluntary. So not everyone has to do it. In the projects that we are doing, it's voluntary. It's voluntary for the students, it's voluntary for the teachers. This is a little bit an overview, because in this project, the Euro project, but also the next project, the Friends project, we are doing this kind of research with quantitative analysis and qualitative analysis. And it means actually that there are certain steps. So as we said, there is an introduction and training of the principal. Then we have the management team. Then we have the training of the teachers. And then you see those two groups of students. One is the experimental group. The second one is a control group. So the control group, they start a little bit later, typically 3 months later, and then they are also called the delayed start group, because they start a little bit later. What also happens is that, of course, before student starts, we do involve the board of governors of the school. We also involve the parents. They are perfectly aware of what is happening. I said already something about that it's for faculty and students, it's voluntary. We also provide further training and follow-up. It's not only the instruction that you have seen, but within the projects, we do this follow-up. One of the things which we find important, and it's good to know for you, is that we do work always with a quiet time site leader that is a contact person between us and the school. So from whom do you get support if you join us in this project? It's a project team of 13 partners, and so the implementation itself is led by Mirta and Stefano here, and you get support from them. There is a research team led by Raymond Slot, but you have seen the elaborated research team. It has been growing a little bit, that researchers wanted to join. And then you have a team of certified teachers in Quiet Time TM and supported by Ashley. What do you get out of it if you choose to join? So we have this morning seen the significant benefits for students, teachers, parents, and school management. We have also seen the benefits for the school as a whole. What is also special about such a European project is that you can be part of an international community where experiences can be shared between teachers and principals. So if you're a school in Belgium or in Luxembourg or whatever, we can arrange that you can, for instance, talk to the principals that you have seen this morning here. You are part of an interesting research. It's quite innovative and new, and it's really groundbreaking, and you can actually be part of it. Because it has been co-funded by the European Commission, the participation is for free. And so you can also be part of the project sustainability plan involving educational institutions that we are working with in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Franz, for these interesting guidelines, and thank you very much, Professor Bramanti, for the policy recommendation. I just would like to add that you can find more information about the project in the project website, which is www.europeproject.org, in our Facebook page, Europe page on Facebook, and also we have spoken several times about a follow-up of this project, which is Friends Project, and also you can go through this website to find other information about Transcendental Meditation, Quiet Time, and mainly on the activities and experiences that were shown this morning by the actors of the project. From my side, I would like to thank all the speakers, all the participants. Really, it was a very special moment this morning, and the end and the beginning of something new that will start from these roots. And I would like to thank the logistic organization, CESI and Ruta, for this precious work, really. I would like to thank the schools that are here, the teachers, the headmasters, principals, and at this regard, I would like to invite you this afternoon after the networking lunch. There will be a sort of networking tables or more networking tables with the schools involved in the Euro project and the schools that were not involved in this project but that are interested to know more or to be partner of this sustainability, as Franz just said right now. And of course, the consortium is glad to invite you after this conference in the networking lunch. And I would like to invite the coordinator of this project, Fabrizio Boldrini, for the conclusion. We started with the project coordinator. We would like to finish with the project coordinators. It's a sort of virtuous circle ITM is as well. From my side, thank you very much for all the precious contributions and for all your participation. Thank you.
Because you know that in Italy what we are used to say at this time of the day is Mamma, prepare the spaghetti, I'm coming. So it's difficult to see profound things in this. I was thinking about a sentence that Mark Twain, you know, the American writer, wrote once, and he said that looking at the behavior of the human being, sometimes we are forced to think it's really a pity that Noah and this group didn't miss the boat. And so I think that sometimes what we are facing is horrible, because we are waiting, we are seeing horrible things. Some of these experts mentioned the Bataclan. Here in Brussels, we have a profound wounds provoked by the terrorism and the radicalization. So what we can do is just taking this message daily and step by step, doing simple things, like Transcendental Meditation. Because I think that we have to have in mind two important messages for us. One is this: in these projects, we are spending public money. So the money is owned by all the people, it's not just by us. We have the strong task to assure also an important aspect of management, of financial management, because it is an aspect of the project. We are discussing now just the conclusions, the results, but what is also behind is a work of people that dedicate a lot of time also to assure that this money are spending properly, being spent properly. And in the other hand, I have this final thought that being sure that we have the great opportunity to involve people, students, giving them some positive messages and increasing a bit their well-being and their expectation on the future life. This is an incredible duty we have in this project, in all these projects, in all the projects that are related to the social inclusion. So I think this conference somehow show that we can do something. We can do something for thinking that it was not a pity that Noah didn't miss the boat. I think we can do something. And retaking again the concept of Montessori, we have to do simple things, prepare things, but we are real profound goal as to increase the human being of the children, because my founder, Alice Garden, that was a Jewish person, and I once wrote a sentence that she took from the Talmud, the book of the Hebraic wisdom, saying, you cannot be happy if just one child in the world is not happy. So I think we have to think to this. Thank you very much.